they trickle in now. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's town hall. We know how valuable your time is, especially right now, and especially for our speakers too. So we really appreciate you being here to stay informed and engaged. I would like to ask that if anyone has any questions this morning, please send them to me through the chat and I'll ask them in the order that they're received. With that, pleased to introduce our speakers. Our first speaker is Yolanda Durant, Stakeholder Liaison with the Internal Revenue Service. Yolanda works directly with directly with tax professionals and industry organizations to provide timely updates, address emerging issues, and strengthen the communication between the IRS and the practitioner community. So we really appreciate you being here today, Yolanda. And then joining her is Deputy Commissioner of the Connecticut Department of Revenue Services, John Biello. In his role, he provides executive leadership over Connecticut's tax administration and compliance efforts, helping guide policy implementation and operational strategy across the state. So we're grateful as well for his time and perspective on the state level developments that are impacting our members. So thank you both for being here. And I'll let you have the floor. Yolanda, if you'd like to maybe get started.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
So we're all in the peak of filing season. We are going through all the changes underneath the one big beautiful bill. The no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, and of course the new car loan interest and the enhanced senior deductions. One thing I would like to mention, if you're not already familiar with Stakeholder Liaison, we do help with the data breaches, which we are seeing a vast increase, and we hasn't even been a month since we've opened filing season. So please make sure you are checking your CAF numbers. We've been seeing where the information has been either reverting back to your old firm's information, or if you're recently married, the name has defaulted back to your maiden name, or someone has hacked your CAF number and completely removed your name and changed your address or email address. So be mindful that you are checking your CAF numbers, your PTIN numbers, and of course your EFIN numbers as well. If you do see anything that looks suspicious, even if you're not 100% sure, you can always reach out to me. We'll discuss it, and then we'll take the most necessary precautions to make sure that you are protected. Especially during filing season, if we need to replace your EFIN number, we want to make sure we get that done as soon as possible. When it comes to refunds, we are moving towards the monetized payments, which means we are looking for bank account, debit card information on your tax returns. Most federal agencies are moving towards this system. If you ask for a paper check, you may experience 6 to 8 weeks delay. What's going to happen is you're going to request a paper check. You'll get a letter from the Internal Revenue Service asking for your banking information. You will then need to respond to opt for a actual check. And then at that time, we will issue a check. So there will be some delays if you are looking for a check. Just not answering the letter does not automatically default a paper check. So your refund can just be sitting in limbo if you receive a letter. So those are the biggest updates and changes that are happening. And I'll let John handle the state, and then we can handle the questions because I feel like you guys are probably going to have a lot of questions.
Thank you, Yolanda. I'm sure there will be. Good morning, everybody. I'm John Biello. I'm the Deputy Commissioner at the Connecticut Department of Revenue Services, and always happy to be with this group. Just to give you some info on how the filing season is going from the Connecticut perspective. things are going pretty smooth. We're off to a really good start this year. It's very typical for us this time of year. Just a few, what I wanted to do today is just go through some tips and reminders that our staff has asked me to convey to all of you. So I'll go through some of that with you. Some tips and reminders. If you're sending paper coupons to the department, for example, to make an estimated tax payment or payment with an extension or payment, just a payment voucher in general, do not mask the Social Security number or the scan lines on that document. You'd be surprised how many we get like that, and it becomes unprocessable for us. So just send the coupons as they are printed. The one big thing that I wanted to mention is that the department is no longer mailing estimated tax coupons for taxpayers to make payments. We're encouraging more electronic payment and filing. Therefore, the department is not going to be sending out the paper coupon book that it has done so since 1991. So you won't see those coupon booklets anymore. The forms themselves are still on the department's website, and you can still access them that way. If paying by check, just send the coupon with the payment. Do not send the first page of a return or a copy of the entire return that's been filed electronically. Again, you'd be surprised how many payments we get, a paper check payment that we get with a duplicate copy of a return that's already been filed electronically. That creates havoc in our system, and we have duplicate returns for taxpayers, and it causes delays in processing. And then finally, the biggest reason why returns suspend for us are name changes. Again, we get returns with abbreviations or not the right legal name. For example, if somebody's first name is Elizabeth, but they file the returns with Beth as their first name, that might create some issues for us. And again, longer processing time. So just a few tips to try and make the processing of returns go a little bit smoother for us. The department will be sending out post-filing coupons in mid-March right up through the filing deadline. We send these out as reminders to taxpayers if they filed a return with a payment due, or if they filed a return expecting a refund and adjustments are made to that return, which creates a liability. We want to make sure that the taxpayer understands that before the filing deadline, and interest starts to accumulate. So we send out a notice starting in mid-March to let the taxpayer know that there's a balance due, and to avoid any interest charges, they should pay the amount due by April 15th. So you'll see those going out very shortly, like I said, mid-March. I'm sure there's a lot of questions around software, and I can assure you that everything on the department side is up to date and went relatively smooth this year. There's really nothing out of the ordinary when it comes to the relationship that the department has with any of the software vendors. We've gotten all of our test scenarios and anything else that the software vendors need has gone out well in advance of filing season. So we're in really good shape there. One of the things last year that we saw an uptick in was fraud. So I just wanted to take a second and mention fraud. This year, so far, knock on wood, we're in good shape as far as that goes. We haven't seen the spike that we did last year at the start of tax season. And as you know, as all of you know, there was a larger than normal increase in the number of returns that were stopped for potential fraudulent activity. This year, if a tax return is stopped, there will be a letter that goes out after acknowledging that the return has been received by the department and informing the taxpayer that the return is under review. Hopefully that stops some of the phone calls that you all received, especially last year when there was the increase. The other thing that we've done to try and help reduce phone calls to yourself as well as to the department is the initial bills that go out sometime in May, early May. They've been redone for this year to add more information and hopefully clarify some of the questions because I have to admit those initial bills are confusing. Hopefully this year with the revisions, they have become more user-friendly and easier to understand. So that's another change that you'll see. Like I said, we're off to a good start. We've got about 350,000 personal income tax returns filed so far. Over 95% of those are electronic, either through third-party software or through MyConnect, the state's filing portal. So again, a small number, but we in April we'll get the bulk of the returns filed. One last thing that I'd like to mention is, and most of you I'm sure know Melissa Pescatelli. She was our Director of Taxpayer Services, and she's been in front of this group quite often. She has since retired. So we've got Novelette Erlington is stepping in and taking over for Melissa in the contact center. The contact center this season is staffed just like it was last year. Last year we had very little wait times on our phones. So if you do need to get through to our contact center, you shouldn't have really any issues at all getting through to our contact center. We anticipate very little to no wait times again this season. It's staffed up pretty well. And then finally, I just want to mention that the legislative session has started. We actually had a meeting with the Finance Committee yesterday, and there's no, from what I see right now, there's no major initiatives planned from a tax perspective this year. At least coming out of the department, we have no legislative package this year. It is a short session. So it's really just kind of cleaning up some things with the budget that's in place now. So I don't anticipate any major initiatives coming out of this session at all. So that's what I have for you, April. I don't know if there's any questions that anyone has.
We do have questions. Thank you both. Yolanda, we have two here from the same person. So will everyone requesting a refund by check receive the letter, or only a sampling of taxpayers?
Anyone that doesn't have any direct deposit information on their tax return will be receiving a letter. And they can either respond to the letter in writing, or if they would like, they can go to a local office and let them know that they prefer a paper check or provide them the bank account information. And also to add, our local offices are doing extended hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if they are receiving the letters, they can actually come in the mornings between 7 a.m. and 8:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays without an appointment, and also from 5 to 6 on Tuesdays and Thursdays also. And we are starting on February 28th. Some of our local offices will be open one Saturday a month, and that will be first come, first serve.
Great, thank you. And also, when will the IRS portal begin accepting forms 941 and 940 electronically?
I haven't received the official date yet. Normally, they start to roll out in the late of February, beginning of March, but we haven't received the official date. A lot of our tools are still offline because they needed to be updated for all the new filing changes.
Great. Okay. Wow, I'm surprised there are no other questions. Please put your questions in the chat, or even raise your hand to ask a question.
For those Saturday events, tax professionals can come in as well. So if you needed to speak to an agent, you can come in with your power of attorneys. I believe there's a limit of 3 clients if you needed to come in.
Great. Okay. It looks like there may be some confusion around tax, no tax on Social Security, or people coming into their practitioners thinking there's no tax on Social Security, because a lot of people are hearing this on television under the new administration. What, I guess, what is the exact, what should they be telling their clients?
So it's not that it's no tax on Social Security. Actually, I did a senior event last night, and that was a big question as far as the RDMs as well. They are just unsure right now what is income, what's taxable, and how this no tax on tips and the enhanced senior deductions are working. So I just let them know this income is taxable, that income is non-taxable. The enhanced senior deduction is an add-on. It doesn't matter if you itemize or if you take the standard deduction. For some reason, they feel like you have to itemize to take this enhanced senior deduction. And I'm like, it has no bearings on whether you are itemizing. I think it's just too many changes in one bill, and they're just getting very confused. And there are a lot of ads and people on social media providing financial advice that is not always correct. So I just tell them you file like you normally file. If you are of a certain age, then you fill out your Schedule 1A. It's the last part of the form for your senior deduction enhancement. It's just a bonus because you are wise of age. And that's what I'm trying to let them understand. It has no bearing on your income unless you are high income, and then you are subject to phase out.
Great, thank you. And I think maybe we could pose this to both of you. As we move through filing season, maybe what trends or recurring issues are you seeing that practitioners should proactively address with their clients?
For the federal side, uh, just the no tips, the no tax on tips
Yeah,
and the overtime. A lot of payroll companies didn't have a chance to update how the W-2s were printed to report it correctly. This is a learning curve. It came out so late in the year that they didn't have time to make the changes. So you're going to have to really ask questions, probe your clients because they don't even really know how much overtime or tips they may have. So it's, just due diligence for this year until the payroll companies can actually improve their systems for the following season. Those are the two big ones people are saying, I don't know how to report it. I don't know how many hours. Is it the full time and a half? Is it the half? That those seem to be the trends and the most confusion that we are seeing on the federal side.
great. John?
Yep, and on the state side, I covered some of the tips already. Some of the issues that we've seen. We always encourage electronic filing, whether it's through third-party software, whether it's through the state's portal, MyConnect. So we've driven up our electronic filing rates in excess of 95%. There was a time where just a short couple of years ago, we would get over 250,000 paper returns filed every year. Last year, that number was down below 200,000. So the message is getting out there, and we want to keep that message going and continue to encourage electronic filing. So that's one of the things that I would certainly want to make sure that that message is conveyed. The other thing is the use of MyConnect. MyConnect is used quite a bit on the business side. Businesses file their sales tax returns and their payroll tax returns through MyConnect. But it gets very little use through the individual side, and I just want to emphasize that it is a good tool to take a look at your account if you need any information about your account, any balances that may be due, any messages from the department would be there. We're enhancing My Connect in the future, where we're looking for more demographic type information so we can get messages out to taxpayers, individuals and businesses alike. So it really is a good tool, and I would encourage more individual filers to use My Connect.
Great. Thank you. We have another question. If the payroll company did report the overtime in box 14, can we assume that the individual has qualified overtime pay that is eligible for that deduction?
I would say you would still need to ask a little more questions because I'm not sure if they really are capturing the full year. Like I said, these changes came out mid-year, and what we have been experiencing are taxpayers saying that I know for sure I added it up. That's not the right amount of overtime. It's missing some overtime. Then we also need to ask them, is that also considering night differential depending on the field that they are in? So it may not actually be capturing the full overtime, or it may actually be also including night diff, which is a little different in the calculations when we speak about overtime. So this year, we're really going to have to probe the clients to see what they know. If there's a written agreement with them showing how overtime is calculated, how night differential is calculated, to better help us understand if they're eligible and how much they are eligible for.
Okay. And I think Chantel's clarifying, she means that they are qualified under the labor laws for overtime.
Yes, then yes. Under all the labor laws, then yes. If it's in that box, yes, that part they are eligible for. It's just calculating the no tax part. We will have to ask some probing questions.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, got someone coming in. Okay. Are there any particular compliance areas or enforcement priorities this year that firms should be mindful of when they're advising their clients? Or either one of
As of
you?
right now, no. This is I would say like a throwaway year. We're all learning together. We probably won't see any enforcement for the overtime and tips and things like that until next year. The biggest thing I would say is the no tax on the car loan interest. It is a personal use. I know a lot of entrepreneurs, small business owners use their vehicle for personal and business. It's supposed to be personal use, and you do need to verify the VIN number to make sure that it was manufactured or finished manufacturing here in the United States. If anything, I will probably say they will be verifying that those cars are eligible for that deduction.
Thank you.
And
John?
April, on the state side, yep, on the state side, we've just started within the last couple of weeks a non-filer, individual non-filer program, which is an annual program. However, there was a few years where we didn't run it because we were in the middle of a system upgrade, but the individual non-filer program has kicked off again. I believe it's related to the 2021 and 2022 tax year. There was about 4,000 notices that were recently sent out inquiring as to whether or not the taxpayer should have filed a return. So that's one that you're seeing now that's occurring. And that will continue. There will be more, various tranches of letters that are sent out as we move through the next couple of months. And there's also, just in general, from a compliance perspective, we just onboarded, or we are onboarding on Friday, 20 new auditors that will be deployed throughout the audit division. And this is our first class of this year. And hopefully we'll have another class of auditors start with us sometime in the summer. So we are able to hire at this time, and we are doing so with the focus on compliance.
Great, thank you. The questions have slowed down, so anyone have questions, please send them through. I guess we can ask a general, if both of you could offer one practical recommendation to CPAs and finance professionals for the remainder of the tax season, what would that be?
I would have to piggyback on what John was saying, just using all the online tools that we have, making sure you as a professional, you are using our online tools, our portals, and that your client is using them as well. Especially when it comes to getting letters. We know how things can get lost or people are moving around day-to-day life. You get it and you misplace it. But if you have access to your accounts, then you can go on and see the letter or jog your memory that a letter was mailed and you can answer it timely and you can upload some of the response to the letters directly to us without having to mail something in or coming in person. So that would be my biggest thing I would say is just using all the online tools that we have.
John?
Yeah, I would agree. Just to kind of add to that, I just want to make sure everybody knows that we're here to assist, and we love the feedback. So do not hesitate to reach out to us and contact us with feedback and let us know if there's an area that we should look at, and if there's something that we could be doing better. We need to know. So I'm always I always look forward to those types of inquiries or emails where there's feedback and so again, just the general message: we're here to help, and we've got staff that are ready and able to assist in anything that you might need.
Thank you. All right, I have a question. This person has a lot of clients are getting sales tax audits. Is this a new initiative by the department?
No, we've been doing sales tax audits for many, many years. So it's not a new initiative. What you may see is some changes in the way sales tax audits are done. We've always done sales tax audits. Traditionally, we've done sales tax audits through field type work, where our auditors go out into the field to a business and review the taxpayer's records there. There's been a real shift in the way businesses done these days with remote work and that type of thing. So we've been focused more lately on more desk type audits, more correspondence audits, particularly with sales tax. This is an effort that I've been trying to spearhead at the department, is to create a desk audit program for sales tax, where we look at very limited issues with the return. We've got a robust analytics capabilities, and we're looking at the returns and using analytics to identify potential underreporting of receipts or over reporting of exemptions on that return. So what you may be seeing, if there's an uptick, you may be seeing more correspondence type audits that are focused on a very specific issue. So that's probably what that question is in reference to.
Right. Oh, we've got questions. Okay. So John, examples. This is an example. Clients file in February, they have a balance due, and they request the balance due to be automatically withdrawn on April 10th from their checking account. In the past, the state would send a post-filing notice that makes the client feel that the situation is not under control with the automatic withdrawal. Should the state send these post-filing notices after the 15th so as not to confuse taxpayers?
That's a good question. If we sent them after the 15th, then there was a balance due, there would be 1 month's worth of interest. So we're trying to avoid that scenario where the taxpayer is not charged interest, where they're notified well enough in advance. I believe in the scenario that was described, that a post-filing coupon would not go to the taxpayer. The only time that to my knowledge, that it would go out is if there was a return filed and the department was not aware that there was a payment that was warehoused to be sent on a specific date. That's when a post-filing coupon would go out. But if the taxpayer warehouses a payment, let's say in MyConnect, and schedules that, when I say warehouse, I mean schedules a payment to be sent to the department on a specific date, they shouldn't get a post-filing coupon.
Okay. I think this may be Yolanda. How are the identity protection, the PINs, working? Are taxpayers locked into renewing these every year?
Generally speaking, you do have to renew them unless our identity theft unit has stated otherwise. The PIN numbers work great. It's something that we always recommend just to avoid having delays. For some reason, taxpayers are also receiving them late, which is why we do say that you should be able to log into your system and opt in and get the number efficiently instead of waiting for it to be remailed to you because a representative can't provide it to you over the phone. But we are still heavily recommending that people have IP pins, especially as tax professionals. If for any reason, like I mentioned before, your PTIN, your CAF, your EFINs, we will also recommend that you receive an IP pin, and then you can inform your clients as well if there is a breach that they are required to receive an IP pin.
Thank you. John, this is for you. What steps can DRS take to improve their reply times when using the correspondence feature on MyConnect?
What steps can a department take to improve the response times? Is that the question, April?
Yes, yes.
Well, the goal with those is to reply within 24 hours. So if we're going beyond that, I'd certainly want to know. If the response times are more than that. We do have a staff that's dedicated to reviewing the response, or to reviewing the inquiries that come in through MyConnect, through the web message capabilities in MyConnect. And the goal is to respond within, like I said, within 24 hours. So if we're going beyond, certainly reach out to me and let me know that the response time is taking longer than that. Now, with that said, during especially this time of year, I would expect that response times are a bit longer, but it shouldn't be, excessively long. If the question is a technical tax issue, regarding, let's say that, the taxability under sales tax of a particular item or transaction that may require a legal review, that might take a little bit longer than the 24 hours. But in general type questions are account related questions are typically answered within 24 hours.
Okay, thank you. If we could, John, if you'd like to include your contact information that you would like to share with the public in the chat. I know there are a couple of folks that would like to speak afterwards. Let's see. I think we might have. Oh, the PET estimated payment. Oh, why does the PET estimated payment not show on the taxpayer's 2025 account?
PET, I'd have to look at the specific scenario. That's a tough one to answer.
Yeah.
I just put my email info in the chat. If you have a
Perfect.
specific question like that on a specific account, feel free to send it to me and we'll look into it.
Thank you. Let's see. Just checking through. We have to get to 9:50 this morning, so we need a few more questions.
Well, I would say if any of you are putting in for taxpayer advocate services, They are still backed up in their log. I have had some tax professionals say that they've had cases with taxpayer advocate that doesn't seem like it's moving. If that's your situation, or for some reason you cannot find your revenue agent, your revenue officer, your tax compliance officer, you can always email me and I'll see if maybe they have left the service. We still have people leaving, which is also not helping our backlog. But things like this, like John said, we are here to help and we're looking forward to any feedback or issues that you guys are having.
Thank you. Okay. So I think you just answered that. We had a similar question on that. All right. It looks like another question is coming in. It's not here yet. Just says it will be for John. Here we go. Okay, my client's ERTC payment was approved, but payment was suspended in the shutdown. Are these payments being released? I think that would be Yolanda, not John, right? Yeah. ERTC payment.
As far
Yeah.
as I'm concerned, those payments have been going out. There shouldn't be any other delays or hold on them. Um, so I would double check with your client to make sure they did not receive it. It could be that they did not receive the amount they were expecting after we helped them and did some reviews. But if for sure they haven't received it, then we definitely either need to run a trace if it was sent or see why it's still for some reason being held in the system. It could just be a glitch and it just wasn't released. But as far as I am concerned and that I know, there are no more delays holding those payments.
Okay, thank you. All right, John, this one is there a listing of out-of-state vendors that have a Connecticut presence?
A listing of out-of-state vendors. There's nothing that the department publishes for out-of-state vendors that are registered to do business in Connecticut. I could talk a little bit about the efforts the department has made to bring on out-of-state vendors. And this was, this goes back several years. Everybody's familiar with the Wayfair case. Even before the Wayfair case, Connecticut was way out in front of this issue. We were one of the agencies that kind of led the charge throughout the country to register and get out of state online retailers, but the largest ones that we're all familiar with, on board and registered to collect Connecticut sales tax. So even before Wayfair, we had a good percentage of the larger online retailers registered and collecting sales tax. We continue our efforts on that front even today as we speak. We've been sharing information with our neighboring states and comparing notes, so to speak, comparing registrations with other states. And there's been several hundred that have been identified that are not registered with Connecticut, that may be registered with, say, Massachusetts or New York or even Rhode Island. So we've reached out to those few hundred within the last 2 weeks, and we've already gotten numerous responses saying that they were going to register, and some coming through through our voluntary disclosure program and making payment of past due sales tax that should have been paid. So Connecticut is still very aggressive in this area, and we continue to register out-of-state retailers. But to answer the question, no, there is not a list of registered out-of-state retailers. With that said, though, if there's ever a question, and this goes for any retailer in Connecticut, whether it's a brick and mortar location in the state or it's an online retailer, if there's ever a question, you can call the department and ask. The department, we're under strict confidentiality rules where we can't disclose information about specific taxpayers. However, the law does allow us to either confirm or deny that the retailer in question has an active sales and use tax permit. So if you call a department and ask if XYZ company has an active sales tax permit, we could say yes or no, that they, with respect to that. And that will give you an idea of whether or not you should do business with that retailer. So long story short is no, we don't have a published list, but you can get information on specific retailers.
Great. Yolanda, are all the departments of the IRS open in the current partial shutdown?
So our budget was approved, so we are clear as an agency. So all of our departments are fully up and running. Some departments, just due to the exits from last year, are very skeleton-like. But we are trying our best to try to resolve and get things backlogged, finished up. But no, all departments are up and running. Like I said, we have been getting phone calls and inquiries saying, I can't reach this person, I can't reach that person. You can call me, I can see if I can find the manager or the actual agent, send them a message. Sometimes that helps. Sometimes just giving them a little reminder, like this person has been waiting for a response. You keep sending letters. Is the refund coming? We try our best to try to give them a friendly coaching.
Okay. Let's see. Now that we're pretty much in a paperless environment, does the signing of the 8879 by the firm partner for an e-filed return constitute signature of the return? In other words, do the PDF client copies of their returns actually require signature from the firm partner anymore? That was a long one.
When we come out and do due diligence checks, we do look for the signatures, whether a digital or wet signature. Is just a safety precaution that both parties actually agree to what's on the actual tax return. It's not required. So we can't say, oh, this isn't signed, so it's not valid. You submitted it with your signature, it's valid for that purposes, but for filing or keeping documentation, if the signature is not there, it's not required.
Okay, I think this may be somewhat similar. Many taxpayers have enormous number of capital gains transactions within their securities account. What is the IRS perspective on accepting a PDF of the 1099-B summary with one-line totals entered onto 8949s as opposed to entering or uploading all the transactions?
So this has been a conflict for last year. I think this goes for training. Some agents can very well see that there are multiple transactions and they accept it. Some of them are asking for more details. We have elevated that already to that department, saying that maybe a better training system so that all agents understand that we don't need all of those documentations because sometimes they are very large documents. So if you receive a letter or your clients receive a letter asking for the documentations or a breakdown, you can let me know as well because we have been keeping track to make sure everyone is trained the same way to accept the right documentations.
Right. Thank you. I have another one for you, Yolanda.
Okay.
When will the IRS definitively require electronic payments for individuals? Individuals may be paying estimates by check each quarter during 2026. Is it possible IRS will penalize them for paying by check if IRS enforces electronic payment mid-year?
We are actually already enforcing electronic payments. We are moving strictly towards a monetarized payments for checks. Um, We're not penalizing anyone this year. I have not heard of us penalizing anyone that is still paying by check, but we are heavily enforcing that we are moving towards electronic payments. Now, down the line, we may start enforcing strictly electronic payments, but for this tax year, there are no penalties. We are still officially accepting checks, which is why we're also still releasing paper checks for refunds if you choose that. Now, next year that may change. Like I said, this is a trial year. A lot of changes are happening, and we're just slowly rolling them out.
Okay. And what is the recommended tracking method for mailing correspondence to the IRS? The post office is saying get an over-the-counter timestamp. Is that sufficient?
So I'm not sure if everyone is aware that the post office is also changing their requirements of how they stamp the mail. So when it comes to mailing, you should get it actually stamped or a signature so that that is the date that we are accepting it. Um, Sometimes the stamp is not there, is not legible, so we will take the date that we honestly received it, which can make that return or payment late. During filing season, like I said, the walk-in offices are available. If you are dropping off current tax return information, you can drop it off without having an appointment. As long as you absolutely have no questions, you are just dropping it off. And that also goes for making a payment with a check or money order. They cannot accept cash at local offices. And that's the easiest and fastest way to make sure your documents are timely and your payments are timely.
Okay. I think we have time. We'll have time for another. It looks like Yolanda, you're very you're busy this morning. Let's see. I received an email from IRS yesterday. We have identified certain activities associated with your tax returns under your EFIN that require your review. Access transcript viewer. Is this email a scam?
Yes. So that is one of the emails that we are already aware of. And then when you verify, they actually change your information. I've already had a tax professional call me about this one, and they said it just looks so real. The wording was spot on. And when they went in, they did all of the verification. And then when they went to go file, their tax returns were being rejected. When they checked on their Tax Pro account, the EFIN number was now registered to a new name with a new address and a new email address. So only time you will receive correspondence like that is normally if you are under audit and the auditor has already established a relationship with you. And then they will ask you, are you okay with getting digital communications? But just out the blue randomly, you will not get digital correspondence from the IRS. There has to be a reason, and we have already established a relationship.
Great, thank you. The scammers are very good at making it look so real, especially with, AI. And okay, one last. When will IRS definitively require e-payments for individuals? Oh, we already asked that. I am so sorry. Here's his new one. Which IRS offices or post offices in Connecticut will be open after 5 on April 15th to get their returns?
For the IRS, I would have to look that up. If you go onto irs.gov, if you put in local offices, they will show you which ones will be having extended hours for Tuesdays and Thursdays, and which ones will also be open for Saturdays. And then you'll be able to drop off there.
Okay. And Yolanda, could you share for everyone your public contact information? I know there's probably still questions that are going to come in afterwards.
Sure
so
can.
if anyone, thank you. All right, so I believe that is time. I really want to thank John and Yolanda for being here this morning on behalf of all of us. especially during tax season. Thank you, all of you, for being here too. We know how busy you all are. So we encourage you to continue to be engaged, come to future town halls, and thank you, everybody, for being here this morning. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.